Have you ever traveled through time? We do it every day.
Asgardia is a country with a population of more than 1 million people from more than 200 countries on Earth. Asgardia gives everyone equal opportunities, no matter what their earthly status is.
It is possible to create and live in the future right now. Are you ready? Forward progress is the solution to the entire human race. Our mission is to bridge new horizons. In Asgardia, there is no limit to the universal development in the fields of technology, finance, and arts. Asgardia is a new space and digital economy which creates opportunities for the global economy. We deliver innovations. Do you want to get on board with us? We are developing various kinds of digital businesses, attracting them to the Asgardia platform that can be backed by the means of our umbrella, i.e. franchising of the Asgardia brand. We can not only attract investments into space programs from prominent institutional investors, but also affordable amounts from the citizens of Asgardia. We comprise of more than 1 million people.
Asgardia is a chance to realize one's dream. This is a dream-driven space nation. Asgardia is a chance to belong to a community of free-thinking enthusiasts, goal-driven dreamers, and fearless innovators, theorists, and scientists.
We are the first space nation. One humanity, one unity.
Asgardia.
We are creating
the future.
Your mute is on.
Schoolboy error. I was laughing at someone yesterday. Thank you very much. We're going to just give it 2 more minutes while people come in, and then we'll get going. And my internet seems a bit unstable at the moment, so I will move from where I am if I have to. But let's see how it goes. Let's see how it does. So we'll start in a minute. Right. If you've just joined us, we're just waiting another minute for some people to join us, and then we'll get going for day 3 of the 11th sitting of the second Parliament of Asgardia. That's quite an achievement, but I'll talk about that in just a moment. Okay, let's start. Welcome to day 3 of the 11th sitting of the second term of Asgardia's Parliament. I'm always proud to say that we are the world's first fully functioning digital democracy. As I've just said, my internet seems a little bit unstable at the moment, so if it does drop out, I shall move to a better place. So apologies in advance. We'll manage it. It won't be a disaster. If the interpreters, once again, to remind you how you can follow in your language. Let's start with our Spanish interpreter.
Hello, good morning. Bienvenidos, estimados parlamentarios, y a ustedes también en Asgardia TV a este tercer día de la sesión parlamentaria del segundo Parlamento de Asgardia, la primera democracia digital en nuestro planeta. Las traducciones se estarán haciendo en los idiomas ruso, turco y español de una forma simultánea, es decir, pueden seleccionar el idioma que desean escuchar y quedarse en el canal principal que está en inglés. No tienen que hacer pausas, pero sí deben hablar más pausado para hacer la mejor interpretación posible y que su mensaje quede claro. Si tienen algún problema técnico a la hora de escuchar su idioma, por favor levanten la mano, déjenlo saber en los mensajes para que les puedan asistir. Eso es todo por ahora. Les deseamos un exitoso último día de sesión. Gracias.
Right, Lambert, you're back on and you're muted.
Yeah, I'm just checking. I didn't hear. I'm sorry, I didn't hear that commentary from Turkey. So apologies if this is the fault of my internet. I'll try changing that in a short while. Thank you. So that was appreciated. And if I go silent, it's because I can't hear everything. I can see there's some latency in my system. 12.
için bir konuşma yaptı fakat bağlantı sorunu yaşandığı için konuşmayı duyamadık. Değerli Asgardia parlamenterleri, Asgardia 2. Parlamentosu'nun 11. oturumuna hoş geldiniz. Oturumların 3. günündeyiz. Yine tercümanlarınız Eren ve Alper size Türkçe ve İngilizce eş zamanlı olarak tercüme yapacak. Türkçe tercümeyi Zoom pencerenizin alt kısmındaki küre ikonuna tıklayarak seçebileceksiniz. Söz aldığınızda tercih ettiğiniz dilde konuşmanız yeterli olacaktır. Tercümanlarınız tüm söylediklerinizi diğer dile anında çevirecektir. Hepinize verimli oturumlar dileriz. Thanks very much.
Right. Okay. I've changed my system. My internet is unstable. It might be a weather phenomenon. I'm not sure. I'm in a place with very bad weather at the moment. And we know from past experience that that can interrupt. When Peter's explaining the justice system, I'm going to reset my system. So we'll do that in a few minutes' time. Let me now take a look at what we're going to be doing today. If you can't hear me, tell me, because I'm not persuaded that my internet's working properly. Right, what we've done so far, we opened on day one with the official opening, procedural issues, including the opening of the voting. You can now vote for everything, and I hope that you do. Please do. It's really an obligation of Parliament to attend these formal sittings and to vote. On day two, we opened with the government tower, and our Prime Minister, Lena de Winne, presented a financial report through Mark Bogan, and an excellent presentation from Jakob Mulder as well, Minister Mulder. We then talked about some legislation, the Asgardia Opportunities Act, presented on behalf of Alexander Melnikov by Mr. John Fine, and also the Asgardia Digital Content Authorization Act. Once again, first reading on behalf of Alexander Melnikov. John Fine made the presentation, and they were great presentations as always. Then we talked about the Space Debris Mitigation and Management Act second reading with Ms. Ferda Inan, who also presented the Asgardia Space Traffic Management Act. Then we moved on to the Asgardia Youth and Education Framework Act second reading. Colleagues will recall that I said based on the evolution of the Youth and Education Framework Act, we'll defer that to the next sitting because a lot of work has happened since the last time we discussed it, and I want to make sure we have everything in place for that. But all the other items are up for voting. Then we closed after a very, very good day, I thought, very efficient use of time. We move on to today. We don't have a guest speaker today, but we do have a report back from the Asgardia Executive Congress, an update on the Executive Communications Protocol, and then the usual committee reports. Then I give you the opportunity to propose any legislation you think we need. And then after 1700 UTC, when the vote closes, I'll give you the provisional results of the voting on the agenda. So that's what we'll do. The voting is open for another 1 hour, 50 minutes, and it closes. And past experience tells me that we'll finish between probably 5 and 6 o'clock today. That's what I would expect. We can go longer. We can go till 2000 UTC, but we don't need to, because with the really efficient operation of our interpreters, we always finish ahead of schedule. In addition to that, we have one item which I carried over from yesterday, and that's the reappointment of justices of Asgardia. This is being proposed by Supreme Justice Mr. Yun Zhao, and I shall shortly read a letter from the Supreme Justice, who sends his apologies. He can't make it himself. I thought he could not, due to time zones and things like that. But he's sent a letter for you to consider. I recognise that it's not 100% what some colleagues wanted. Some colleagues wanted the 4 justices to be here. We did not do it that way the first time, all those years ago. But it's a fair request, and I thank you for that feedback. And now, for the next time, not this time, I shall ask those individuals to come. Having said that, all the chairs of committees did meet the justices in Dubai, and that was a first. That was new. So we have people with experience of those individuals here. What I'd like to do now is explain what's going to happen. I'm going to ask Peter to explain what justice means. It's a big statement, but we've never really discussed it before. It's in the Constitution, but what I mean by this is, what is justice? What's it for? And why do we need justices? And why do we have a Supreme Justice? While you're doing that, Peter, I'm going to reset my system to see if I can get a more stable network. So you probably have about 10 minutes while I do that, if that's okay, Peter. And while I'm doing that, if anyone has any questions or comments, please feel free to have the direct dialogue with Peter now. He's very experienced as a chair. So I'm going to ask Peter now to take this on. I'm going to vanish for some minutes, maybe up to 10, while I try to reset my system. And then hopefully it won't make any difference, because Peter will be explaining this in quite a lot of detail anyway. Then after we finish that, then I will read out the letter from Supreme Justice Yun Zhao. He's asked me to present it to you. And we'll put this on the screen. So if Aliona and Linda can arrange for that to go on the screen after I get back and after Peter's finished. So Peter, I'm handing over to you while I try and sort out my system. And then we'll be back in a short while. But Peter, you carry on.
Thank you, Lambert. I have to say that this is what our Chairman of Parliament does to you. He gives you 2 minutes notice to answer the most difficult and complex legal question that he could possibly come up with. What is justice?
But
What is justice?
Been doing it for 40 years.
Yeah, no, but I haven't necessarily been doing it justly. I've been practicing law, and that's not the same thing. But justice is the application of laws in equal measure between all the parties bringing the arguments. So it's not just what I know, it's the balance of the arguments, listening to everyone, giving everyone an equal voice, and letting that voice be heard in the administration of the law, that particular law, whatever it may be. So justice is almost a spiritual thing because it's being unbiased. It's just letting everyone have their say and letting everyone's say be properly heard, as justice is the administration of the law. Now this might sound relatively straightforward, and to a degree it is, but in a place like Asgardia, which has at the moment, no land base, and it has lots of laws, but laws which have never been put to the test. We've got Supreme Justices who ultimately would make the decision if we argued all the way up, but we can't tell you what their decisions would be, but they will give it thought, they will listen to all the arguments, and they will make a decision based on the arguments and the law they're administering, and not on any position of bias. But it's very difficult. I mean, we've set up in Asgardia an arbitration and mediation system, and I am probably the most experienced mediator in all of Asgardia, probably more experienced as a mediator than any of the Supreme Justices. And nobody's ever asked me to mediate anything because we don't argue anything. We don't have a court system that's actually operating. But we know that if I had to do it, I would do it in the interests of and with the administration of justice, because I'd listen to all of the arguments and then I'd apply those arguments equally, irrespective of who was making them, to the law that I was administering. And that's why the law, when we define it in all the acts that we put through, and the hard work of John Fiennes and Furter in particular, because they're the ones who bring forward most of the legislation that I've seen, their laws have to be defined carefully. But that's not justice. That's the law. And I can tell you that I say to a lot of my clients, if they're bringing an argument to me, surely that's what justice is all about, they will say. And I will answer, well, yeah, that may be what justice is all about, but I am a lawyer. I administer the law, and the law is the law is the law, and it's not necessarily just. The administration of that law has to be just by listening to all of the arguments and administering the decision based upon the arguments and not from any position of bias. But that's not what I do as a lawyer in England. I administer the law the best I can for my clients and argue it. But justice is what the courts, hopefully, are applying. But I am not about justice. I am about law. And that is a very different thing. Dr. Sarah Clark.
Yes. Do you mind going over the four branches of law that our justices cover? Because we have criminal law, constitutional law, civil law, and administrative law. Do you mind?
Yeah. What do you want me to do with them?
Just even cover them, because I knew we had 4 justices, but until I met them, and they are all incredible. Until I met them, I just didn't really have a strong, I guess, understanding of how exactly each of them had a role in the Asgardia justice system.
Okay, well, constitutional law is kind of self-explanatory. I mean, we have a constitution, and any arguments within that constitution fall within the remit of constitutional law. And whilst I could wax lyrical about constitutional law in England, that wouldn't help you very much. But constitutional law is exactly what it says on the tin. It is the law of the Constitution and the administration of that Constitution, so that no one is allowed to do anything which is outside of or in contravention of constitutional law. So our Constitution is, at the end of the day, absolutely sacrosanct. Administrative law is almost the sister to constitutional law, because the way in which I operate as Deputy Chair of Parliament, the way in which Lembit operates as Chair of Parliament, the way that Parliament operates, and the interaction between Parliament and government and the people of Asgardia, that is, if you like, administrative law. So it's the way that the administration of law works. It's not to do with the Constitution, because that is what we are applying in all things, but it's the administration of the law. With regard to civil law, there are two sorts of law. There is criminal law, which is the regulations we all have to follow, and which the government, if you like, will enforce. That's criminal law, which usually has a criminal sanction at the end of it, a fine, imprisonment, probation, that sort of thing. Civil law is an argument between two parties under the Constitution, and the decision has to be made which of them is right and which of them is wrong. That's civil law. Civil law normally, now how do I explain that? It takes 5 years at university. I've got 3 minutes. So there are, in civil law, there's contract law. So if you and I, Sarah, have a contract and you say that I've breached it and I say, no, I haven't, then the administration of that, the decision on who is right, who is wrong, and what the solution is, that's civil law within a contract. But the other is what certainly we in England called tort, T-O-R-T, which is just a civil wrong. So it's where you and I are arguing, there's no contractual relationship between us, but one of us wants something from the other. So if you knock me down in your car, then I will make a claim against you. We don't have a contract, but you owed me a duty not to knock me over in the car, and you've breached that, so I can make an action against you for damages. And that's tort, and that's definitely a civil law. Other civil laws are things like defamation, anything you can think of where one party owes a duty to the other and has breached it, and that's tort. So tort and contract basically are the civil law. Criminal law, I think you know, I think we probably all know, they are the rules which we laid down, and in Asgardia we laid down in the Acts of Parliament which we pass, and somebody breaches it. So the sanction is the government saying, you have broken that law. We've set those laws out to protect all of you from each other. You've broken it. We're going to punish you, and we punish you in one of several ways. I think that's the 4. Do you want to say something else, Sarah? Is that a historical hand?
No, my question was, because this hadn't occurred to me either, sadly. Like the harshest punishment, in Asgardia is expulsion, and I guess that hadn't really occurred to me. But no, that was wonderful. Thank you so much for doing that. I appreciate it.
I hope it helped. And my bill for that, Lembit, is £2,000 plus value-added tax. So I'll send you an account in the post.
Yeah, please do that to the usual address, which is the Moon.
I thought you were going to say care of HMP Wormwood Scrubs. That's a prison for those who don't know.
Thank you very much, Peter. I think I don't know if I've sorted my internet. I may have to move again, but let's see if we can make this work now. Any other questions for Peter before we move on to the actual document, which I hope we can actually put up on the screen? Just checking. Okay, now a very important point has just been made there, and that is that the highest sanction is digital ostracism, digital expulsion. The highest sanction, because we're not here as a vengeful, punishing society. We want society to work, and so the judgment built into the Constitution is that the biggest punishment, if you like, I'm not even sure if you'd call it a punishment, but the sanction is to remove somebody who is not sufficiently engaged and committed to the values of Asgardia. That's basically what we're saying. And it has been done. It has been done. But I have to stress that we aren't in a world, we're not living in a society of hate. We don't look for attempts to punish just for the sake of punishing people. We want our society to be effective. One reason we do it this way is because if you're living on Mars or some Enceladus, punishing people is a dangerous route to go because it could create problems far, far from Earth. There's a very important storyline in a program called For All Mankind, where somebody does something very bad on Mars and he is ostracized. He's made to live alone. They don't kill him on the basis that human life is precious. And that is considered punishment enough. So any questions about that? In a moment, I'm going to ask either Aliona or Linda to share the document which has been sent to me on behalf by Yun Zhao, our Supreme Justice. Okay, then let's go on to that. I'm hoping that the document is uploaded, and if we can put that on the screen share now, that would be great. Let me just check. Okay, we haven't got that up yet, but I need that document to be up. It's a letter from Yun Zhao, which has been sent to me, formally proposing the 4 justices for reappointment. As I said earlier on, I have got a view that in future, which is quite a few years away now, we can perhaps have the justices with us. We did make a big step forward because we actually met these individuals in the Asgardia Executive Congress, and that's a new development. I'm still hoping that either somebody tells me they're not going to put this up, or that it is put up, the letter from Yun Zhao. I do need that to be on the screen. Here we are. Let me read it for you anyway while they're putting it on the screen. As soon as you have that on the screen, as soon as you're able to, then please put it on. Here it comes now. Great, not that one. Not that one. That's a different thing. We're coming to that later. No, thanks, but that's not the right thing. Good try, though. Good try. Very proactive, and I appreciate that. Let me read you the letter, and I hope that this will be put onto the screen, but I'll read it to you. It's from the Supreme Justice of Asgardia to Parliament, and the subject is reappointment of justices. I respectfully write to request the reappointment of the 4 justices for the continental... Here we are. I can read it from here then. Thank you, Linda. I respectfully write to request a reappointment of the 4 justices for the continental justice positions for voting according to the Constitution. Mr. Tom Cabau, Africa, Kenya to be precise, for the panel on constitutional law. Dr. Ana Maria Murepino, South America, Chile, for the panel on administrative law. Ms. Carrie Shu Shang, North America, United States, for the panel on civil law. And Dr. Firu Tiba, Australia, originally from Ethiopia, but now Australian citizen, for the panel on criminal law. And that's from Yun Zhao, the Supreme Justice. As I say, in future, and it's quite a few years away, I shall invite them to attend, but the chairs of committees did meet them, and the ministers did, in the Asgardia Executive Congress, and that's because Head of Nation is very determined that the executive works together. The document that Ariadne showed us, we'll come back to later, and the four justices are part of that process as well. So although I am asking you to do this partly as an act of good faith, I will say that these four have been doing very good work, and they made very impressive presentations when we were in Dubai. Thank you for that, for putting up the letter. So I have no doubt that these are the right four people, and Yun Zhao is a very professional and highly qualified individual who oversees their work. Peter.
Thank you, Chairman. I think I just wanted to emphasise that I, like the other chairs, met the four justices when we were in Dubai. Now, you would expect that they would understand the law, and I'm sure that they do, but I have to say that they were very impressive. And if I had to go as a lawyer before any of them, I would be more than happy that they would do justice and that they would be good judges. I've not seen them judging, so I can't say that with any experience, but my gut says that they are judges I would be happy to go in front of. And that says something, because there were a lot of judges in my jurisdiction that I'm not happy going in front of. But they were very impressive, and I have no hesitation in endorsing their reappointment.
Thank you very much indeed, Peter. Are there any questions on this? And once again, I stress, I can organise this better in future. And I'm actually thinking that one of the useful things we can do in future is invite the justices to attend our sittings and give a report. That would be a good way of doing it, because then we don't need to have a special separate dialogue with them for the re-election. So I'm asking you to do something slightly as an act of good faith, but I hope that you will. And if you do, then we will have those four justices in place for another term. What we will do is we vote just like we do with all the other things in the matters for voting. If you agree, then you vote yes. If you disagree, vote no. And if you're not sure, then please abstain. Ariadne.
Gracias. En solicitud que hice
Thank you. And there was a request that I did to Linda Lewis to see if we could talk over the phone in the case of the judge in Santiago de Chile. And she said, she suggested that the best is that we send an email. And I sent an email, and I sent with a copy to you, Lambit. I'm not sure if they're not supposed to communicate with the parliament members with via email, or somebody else asked also via email specific detail. And I don't know. I'm very sick. I'm sorry for my voice. Thank you.
I've been ill as well, actually. Maybe I made the internet ill. Maybe that was the problem. Interesting. The chart that you put up earlier, we will come to in a short while, and that actually is an indication, together with the notes of it, that we are entitled, everyone in the executive is entitled to talk to everyone else on informal and non-official business. And that should make a huge improvement to the quality of the interactions between us. So I think that the justices are included in that. And I think that that will massively help the process. I'll talk about that at that item. But I think that it would be good to invite the justices to make a contribution whenever we have our digital sittings, and maybe at other times as well. They're always welcome, of course, but we hadn't got into the habit of asking them, and I think we should. Any other comments about this item? Okay, thank you to Peter, and thank you for the questions and comments. If you are willing to accept in good faith that we have four good justices there, and the chairs of committees, I've met them, then these vote yes. If Yeah, get well soon, says Bernd Queck to everyone who's ill. It's a global thing. I guess we'll export the common cold to space as well. If you support the individuals, Justice Carrie Shang, Justice Anna Maria Pino, Justice Tom Caban, Justice Firu Tiba, then please vote yes. You don't have to vote for all of them, of course, Sorry, you don't have to vote for them as a block. You need to say yes or no to each one individually. If you disagree, then vote no. If you're not sure, then please abstain, but still mark your vote. Thank you, and thank you, Peter, for that explanation as well. Very much appreciate it. Right, let's move on. Report back from the Asgardia Executive Congress. We have talked about this quite a lot, but I wanted to put onto the formal record a summary of what happened in terms of that Congress. Overall, it was very successful. The background to the Congress is as follows. It's an opportunity for the executive of the Asgardian nation to meet and agree action steps of a top level nature, which we then can implement together in the year ahead. The congresses occur as and when they're required. They don't happen on a fixed date, but they usually happen in between physical sittings. I would expect that we will have a physical meeting of some sort on the 12th of October next year, maybe on other times as well. But I'm sure the Congress will be there, and it is my hope that we are all there. So that's what it involves. The people involved in the Congress are as follows: 12 chairs of committees, 12 up to 12 administrators for each department. Sorry, up to 12 administrators. And then we have the Supreme Space Council, and we have the 4 justices. So that means it's 12 plus, the maximum is 12 plus 12 plus 12. That's the chairs of committees, ministers, administrators, plus the 4 justices. That makes 40. And then we have the Supreme Space Council, which consists of the Prime Minister, Head of Nation, Chair of Parliament, Head of Administration, a Head of Nation, sorry, yeah. So yeah, we got the five there. So administration, yeah, well, those people, I'll not repeat it again. And it's a very important. That's 5 there. The 5 Supreme Space Council members and 12 plus 12. And most of them were there, which is great. My feeling is that the head of nation has massively increased his drive to get us national recognition. We talked about that a lot with Decree 89 yesterday. I think that is the #1 priority for us in Asgardia now, to make the recognition happen. And I think that needs to happen by the 12th of October next year, which is our 10th anniversary. We covered other things too, and you'll hear some of what was covered in the discussion of committee activities in a short while. And various ministers made presentations as well. We mentioned that the justices were there, so that was the first time I think many of us had met them. The other thing that happened was a lot of work happened between the individuals there, and it just showed how valuable it is to physically meet at times. Maybe technology can make that happen in the future. Maybe we can feel like we're in the same place. That sort of technology, I think, already exists to an extent. But I still think there's something unique about physically being in the same space and physically making those things happen. The final thing I'll say is that the head of nation was very generous with his time, and everybody who wanted a one-to-one meeting with the head of nation had one. And most of the chairs of committees had asked for one, and he gave that time generously. He spent quite a few hours having those one-to-one meetings. So overall, I think it was a big success, and I'm very grateful that colleagues made the time to travel there. One other thing, the real proof of how good it was is how much we do. And I've been very busy trying to, essentially find a way that I can help get that state recognition. I had a meeting last night, actually, after the sitting with somebody about that. I had to travel into London to do that. That was quite productive. Okay, that's basically what I want to say. Let me open it to other people here. If anyone would like to make a contribution to your views of what the Executive Congress was like and what you got from it. You don't have to, but it would be good if you said something, somebody. Yeah, thanks, Sarah. Yeah, go ahead.
I apologize for my voice. I too seem to have caught a cold. No, it obviously was a great honor to represent the Finance Committee in Dubai, but I think more than anything, just the unimpeded communication that took place between the not only just the chairs, but like the ministers, the administration. It was very nice to put a face to a name, but emails can only go so far as in regards to communication, and all of us are on a very, very specific path with a very specific goal in mind. And I think that it was just invaluable to, sit down at a table over lunch, or, have time to grab a coffee and bounce ideas off of each other, and just truly make a connection. So I do hope that there is a time in the not too distant future where we can all sit down, probably not at one table, but all sit down together and just really move this initiative forward. And I think that just the massive amount of momentum that we created with that Congress will carry us quite far into 2026 and what is it, 0010. So again, apologies for the voice, but thank you for your time. You're muted.
Yeah, I've muted there as well. I'm trying. It's breaking up a bit. I'm going to move again, see if I can get a slightly better signal. But I said don't need to apologise. The Northern Hemisphere has got a cold at the moment, so that's all you're seeing there. John, and then further. John, over to you.
Yes, well, I really enjoyed it. There were so many aspects about it that it was so enjoyable. It's kind of hard to figure out which one to start with first. It was a good venue. We were in a really nice place. Certainly, it was awesome meeting everybody. For me, I've met most of them in previous meetings because I was one of the persons that was named during the event that had been in every executive congress that Asgardia has, and that was certainly exciting to hear that. That shows. But I've been dedicated from the very beginning. So, but in all the executive congresses, I've really enjoyed, and they've always been put in really good venues. I especially like the quality time I had with my minister. We did spend a lot of quality time talking, and a lot of quality time that I spent speaking with the other chairs. We shared a meal table on several occasions where we actually got to sit down and talk about whatever subject matter came up during that meal. So, and that really helps improve, our cohesiveness. And it's just, you really appreciate being there with the person in person. There's nothing that replaces that face-to-face communication, because there's so many things involved in that you don't get through a digital screen. But I hated the fact that during the gala, I had to leave early to catch my flight. I really hated that because I hadn't even finished my meal yet. I didn't even get to eat the main course. I only got to eat the first parts of it, so I don't even know what was on the main course. Somebody will have to tell me what that was because I never got to eat it. So I didn't even get to see it. They were bringing it out as I was leaving. But Lambert, if you happen to have saved me a portion of that and put it away in the refrigerator, you can mail that to me and I'll enjoy it. So I doubt if you did that, but
I posted it to you already, John. Didn't
oh,
you
you
get it?
did. Oh, well, that must have been that thing that had green mold growing on it. We threw that away. So.
That was guacamole.
Yeah. But no, it was just a lot of fun. Now, for me, the airplane ride there and the airplane ride back was so wonderful. I don't know why this trip, where compared to other trips, this trip was uneventful as far as the airplane ride goes. And I mean, when I'm talking uneventful, I mean, I got through security and everything in less than 30 minutes at every stop, everywhere I went. And I met a lot of great people along the way. And I even got to do a little babysitting on the way back. There was a family who was refugees from Afghanistan, and I got to babysit their two boys. So that was, I actually got a little additional duty while I was there, while I was on the plane. So, yeah, it was just all around a great experience, and I look forward to the next one. And I want to thank the HON and the planners and everybody that put all that work and effort into it. I want to thank them at the bottom of my heart because they've done such a wonderful job. The presentations were awesome, outstanding. I really liked the project that they introduced that they were trying to do with Dubai. I really hope that that goes forward. Uh, I really liked the app. That was just awesome to see that happening. I really liked Ben Dale's presentation and the new strategy that he is planning. And, with the working Asgardia.work, I think. Yeah, it's Asgardia.work. Asgardia.work uh, website that he's doing. But, but there were so many. I mean, this is really a power-packed session. There were so many things covered during the session, especially meeting those justices. I mean, that was just a magnificent experience, and they were some really great people. And so I had no problem voting all of them back into office because the people that I met there during that event were just awesome people. So, yeah, it was just a great experience, and I really enjoyed it.
Thank you, John. Yeah, I do like long flights. Yours is much longer than mine, though. You're in the sky for something like 15 hours, I think.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was about a little, maybe a little more, off and on from different flights.
Well, I'm glad that you had a good experience. I certainly did. Further, and then Ariadne.
Thank you very much. Yes, I'm very satisfied with the vacation, seeing my friends, being around with the people think alike, and it was a good experience for me as well. I liked the presentations, I liked the news about Asgardia. Also, there were lots of opportunities to talk with people, learn their character. Yeah, we are here about mostly our projects and solving the problems, but seeing them one-to-one, face-to-face, seeing them how they are, it was a good experience for me, and it fired a lot of energy for making a lot of things for Asgardia. Thank you very much. I was also so happy and thanking to Head of Nation for arranging this for us.
Thank you as well. It was very good, and it's always great to see everybody. All the chairs actually had breakfast together on the morning of the event, and I think that I saw real teamwork, and actually ministers joined us as well. And I say again, there's no substitute for that human contact, no substitute at all. Incidentally, I think I've fixed my internet now. I think I've actually got it working now. So let me know if there's any breakup of my signal, but I think it's really solid. Rodney, you're next.
Bien, afortunadamente Benedetto nos hizo ver el platillo principal
Fortunately,
de esa cena de
Benedetto
gala y fue
showed us what the main dish for
pudimos
that
saborearlo desde
dinner
la
was,
distancia, así que no creo que yo se haya
and we
perdido de
could
nada
enjoy
porque
it
al ver
from
todos
afar.
esos recuerdos fotográficos
And when I
que nos
saw
compartieron,
those
podemos
photos that were
sentirnos
shared,
ahí en algún
we could
momento.
feel we were there at
Y
that
sí,
time.
ese platillo se veía
And
delicioso.
yeah, that
Por
dish
otro
looked
lado,
delicious.
yo
On the
tuve
other
la
side,
oportunidad de preguntarle a Lucas
I
Sorriso
was able to ask
acerca de su
Luca
impresión de
Sorriso
los jueces. Él
about
tuvo
what
la
his
oportunidad de hablar
impression
con
of the
varios de
judges
ellos y
was.
darme su
He was
punto de
able to talk
vista.
to them
Aparte de que
and
vemos
give
sus
them
currículums, que
and
son realmente
get their
impresionantes,
point of
el que
view. We also
él
saw
haya
their
podido
resumes,
hablar
which are
con
very
ellos, lo hizo
impressive.
extensivo en lo particular
Um,
conmigo. Y yo
and
siento
he
que
shared
son
with me what
personas que
he talked
tienen madera para poder
with them,
colaborar
and I
y
think
crear un
they are very
cimiento
well
jurídico
equipped
muy
to
positivo para Asgardia.
put
Así
up
que en ese caso,
a
yo
big
una pregunta que haría es,
legal
si
knowledge
pese a que ellos no
to
estén
serve as
aquí,
guardian.
los tenemos en
And
pausa
despite them
para ser
not being here
votados,
right now,
si los vamos a votar o va a quedar en
if we're
stand-by.
going
Esa es
to
la
vote
pregunta.
for
Por mi
them,
parte, si me dicen,
are we going
sí,
to
sí, de
vote for
acuerdo a
them
lo que
right
tú
now, or are they going to
consideras,
be,
puedes poner tu voto
or is the
del día
votation going to be
antes de que
pending?
cierre la votación, pues yo lo haría con mucho gusto, porque
So if we
me
have to
creé
vote
una
for
imagen
them
de
now,
ellos
I would do
a
it
partir de los comentarios
gladly.
y de los currículums que nos fueron entregados.
And
Es lo que
I
yo
would
diría.
vote yes, based on their resumes. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, I am asking you to vote for the 4 justices. Now I have a better signal. Let me just repeat what I said before. The justices met the chairs of the committees, and I think all 4 of them are very impressive, in my opinion. It's good to elect them, because reappoint them, because Yun Zhao, our Supreme Justice, who I have got to know very well, has faith in them, and the head of nation does as well. So this time I'm asking you to vote slightly on trust, on the advice of the chairs of committees and myself. What I am saying is this: in future, I will proactively invite the 4 of them to attend more of our events, including Asgardia legislative forums when that's relevant, and obviously our digital sittings. I think we should have the opportunity to hear from them. It's important that the legislature, us, and the justice system, them, that they are separate, because the politicization of a justice system is very dangerous. It's been discussed a lot in the United Kingdom recently. So we don't want the justice system to end up being a political tool of politicians, because the justice system has to keep the politicians honest as well. But we might be able to improve our interaction a bit and not compromise their independence. Carol agrees. Yes, we had some matters discussed while we were together, and the Supreme Justice Yun Zhao actually abstained on a vote. He said, "I need to be seen to be independent, because otherwise an appeal makes no sense if I've already made a judgment." So he really understands that. Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Does anyone else want to make any more comment about the Executive Congress? Okay, looking ahead, there may be another Executive Congress next year. I have not been told this yet. The Executive Congresses are 100% the decision of the head of nation, and so he decides. but I always think it's good when we have them. I am quite confident, quite sure, because the head of nation said so, that we will have a big event around the 12th of October on the 10th anniversary, and I don't know what that will be. I'm guessing that it might be an executive congress. I'm hoping it might be a full physical sitting for everybody. That takes a lot of organization, so we'll know in a few months' time, because everybody needs to have time to prepare their trips and everything. Okay, thank you. Let's move on in the agenda. Now, you saw a chart earlier on, which Ariadne put up briefly. There are a few few versions of it, but I've asked for the protocol chart to be put up now. And what I want to talk about is the executive communications protocol. Well, this affects the executive more than anyone else. It's important everybody knows about it because have been some improvements. I'm wondering if Linda, if you have a copy of the latest version. If not, I could ask Ariadne to put up the version that she has. I don't like to put up my versions because then I don't see the screen properly, and I need to be watching all the time. Okay, right, here we are. Linda, thank you. Great, perfect. Right, so thank you very much. So this chart has some history. It's been around for a while, and there's been a lot of discussion about who can talk to whom. It's now got to a place that I'm happy with. Colleagues, the chairs of committees, had a lot of complaint about the restriction. They weren't very happy about the level of bureaucracy that this brought in, but I think it's been fixed. What this basically says is that, I won't go through this in great detail, but what it says is that a minister and a chair of the same department can speak to each other on anything, anytime, and also the administrator, special advisor, the senior advisor, they can all talk about anything, any of the time. But it looked like, and then all of the chairs can speak to any Supreme Space Council member through their representative. So anyone in Parliament can contact me, and I'll pass on the message to Head of Nation or Supreme Justice or Prime Minister or Head of Administration. But it was felt to be too restrictive. There are two very important improvements to this process. If I read them to you. In the notes, it says this protocol is applicable to official formal communications only. What that means is that anyone can talk to anyone anytime it makes sense for Asgardia. I would define official and formal as something which is that being put forward for official recognition or decision. And then, of course, it makes sense. It's very sensible that the minister and the chair of the particular department are aligned. If they're not aligned, it's not going to be very easy for the process to go forward. And therefore, I'm very happy that has been included. So I don't have to check everything everyone says to everyone all the time, nor does the Prime Minister. And you, the executive, 12 chairs, 12 ministers, 12 senior advisors, and the 4 justices, they interact freely with their respective horizontal line and freely on informal and unofficial communications with everybody else. The second thing I want to read is the last part of this. Any collegial consultations between the executives occurs freely in the interests of Asgardia and do not require any formalization by protocol. That basically means that if you've got a question for somebody else in the executive, just ask it. You have to ask my permission. And that's really important because as Asgardia gets more and more busy, no one in my position or the Prime Minister's position could possibly handle the amount of communications that would bring with it. So in actual fact, it would be pretty much impossible in a very active Asgardia for progress to be made quickly if 5 people are always, especially the Prime Minister and the Chair of Parliament, are always managing the communications traffic. It just can't be done. So that's a huge change, and I think it's a really good one. What does this look like in practice? It looks like what happened at the Asgardia Executive Congress when people were talking with each other without having to ask permission all the time, and things were decided and progress was made. So I would say we saw the good that can come when people work together in Dubai. My advice now is we just try it. Use your common sense, communicate with people, and more than anything, be aware that we will be judged by our results. And those results are best achieved when we work together. Let me then summarize. The flow chart indicates when formal and official communications take place, and there needs to be a formality to it. That basically means that a minister and a chair need to become aligned before making a proposal. But informal, unofficial, collegial consultations can happen at any time, and all 40 are involved in that. One last thing, actually. The head of the nation is very happy to conduct communications with you. It makes sense that it happens through the, if you like, the head of that, the representative on the Supreme States Council of whichever part you're in. So for chairs of committees or Asgardian members of parliament, it's through me. For ministers, it's through the head of through the Prime Minister, because he can't possibly just endlessly communicate with everybody all the time. So that's a job I have to do, and I have to make sure I don't hold things up. But that's reasonable. And so I think that we came up with a very good result there. And I'm grateful to the Prime Minister for spending so much time trying to include this here. Are there any questions or comments anybody would like to make on this? This isn't down for a vote. It's an operational procedure. Anybody want to say anything? Okay. I also want to thank colleagues because you spoke directly with the head of nation about your concerns with the very restrictive system that we had before. And he listened. So that's great. He's taken on board what you said. And I think that's why we've now got ourselves into a much, much better position with all of this. John.
Yeah, I was just wondering, are you going to be putting that in the document file for the session here that Linda made?
Yes.
Okay.
So the only reason it's not there is because there was a small modification to it yesterday afternoon. Just something needed to be fixed, but it's in the public domain. Once it's on that screen, 8 billion people can see it.
Okay.
So it's not going to be a secret anymore. It's never a secret. Yeah. So and it's just useful. Remember, there's a good 2-word phrase: common sense. Just use your common sense. If John needs to speak to Mark Bogan, and Sarah has spoken to Mark Bogan, just go ahead and do it. Just go ahead and do it. And if it gets to formal proposal, then we have a formal protocol. That's normal. Further.
Teşekkür ederim.
Thank you very much.
Çok mutlu oldum çünkü
I'm very happy with this development because as a committee we had an issue. Whatever project we developed, and if it is related to a different committee, it was quite difficult to contact, to communicate, because from time to time we have to receive advices or recommendations or consultation from different committees, for instance. So it's very important for our committee, and from now on we will need more support in our project. So this will solve a lot of problems. So as a committee, I'm really, really happy. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, I'm pleased as well. We've actually been negotiating it for about 2 years. The first time it really became a subject of big discussion was in Baku 2 years ago. And I think we've got to a better place. So it just releases all that good energy so that people can work together without getting stuck. I'm very aware of the fact that sometimes when you guys are working really hard, it's frustrating if I have to be involved because sometimes you can't get me or I take too long to get back to you. That's all unnecessary because you're smart people. Everybody here is very clever. And that's the great opportunity we've now created where the collective intelligence of the organization can work together to achieve those results. Good. Okay. Any other questions or comments on this? As John asked correctly, this will then be put into the record of this sitting and we'll see how it works. Hopefully it'll work well. Okay, let's move on then. We now get to the reports of work plans of parliamentary committees, and I'm very grateful that all of the chairs have submitted a report, and all of them went to the head of nation. So I salute the team. They're really actually working in a very positive way towards the goals that we all need to set. And the head of nation proved that he reads everything because he was able to comment about the specific work that you had been talking about. So let's go through this in the order which I'm now looking at the app. I used to have a lot of paper, but the app saves me a lot of time because it has everything from who I am, who the Prime Minister is, how Asgardia works, right through to the Parliament committees. So the order we'll do this in, not everybody's here, but everyone gets a chance, is science, finance, citizenship, foreign affairs, information and communications, trade and commerce, justice, youth and education, safety and security, equity and resources, manufacturing and culture. That's the order in which they appear in our website, and that's the only reason I take that approach. It's not a favoritist position. But just before we start with science, all of these reports are available as well to colleagues here, and they'll all be in the record of the sitting. Just to say that we have 53 minutes left of voting. After that, the voting closes. I'm sure that we'll take this 53 minutes at least for the committee reports. You don't have to make a long report. That's not the job. I'm very happy to accept long or short reports, but that's for you to decide how much you need to speak to get your message across. So let me start with science. If Luca is here. If he's not, then there's a written report.
Okay, I'm here. Luca,
oh, great. Thank you.
Request me. Okay.
Great. Thank you.
Well, I need to spell in English because the report is in English.
Okay.
And it's more easily. Okay. Okay. The Science Committee activity report is this. Do you can see there? All right. The Science Committee is currently working on several aspects of science-related legislation and projects. Committee meetings have not been frequently over the last trimester, but activities being carried out at an individual level. Legislative activity, preparation of legislation included Space Activity Act that will form the Asgardia Space Code. Priority laws, space science and industry, working group not yet formed. Maybe Benedetto is a good idea. I put that. The objective is to contemplate industrial processes, the regulations, and the ability to create tenders with some countries, and involving the Manufacturing Committee and the Safety and Security Committee in the process. Well, I'm thinking in Benedetto in this moment. This is the Google file if you want to go there. People in space is the other. led by Young and Education Committee involving Citizenship Committee. We invite Mr. MPs to gather information of academic studies and existing Hearts Nation legislation regulating life in space. At individual and community levels, we should then elaborate and build up Asgardia-specific legislation. The other one is protection of the Earth and the environment of Earth in space. Preliminary research has been to evaluate existing legislation around the world regarding the LEO debris mitigation, to analyze if and how Asgardia policies can have an impact on international space regulation, and to disseminate what actions or plans are currently being carried out of the necessary care of the orbit. I try to put off my headphones. Well, we know that about Ferdinand. He's working so hard in there with all the recognition of the chair Lucas Urizo and mine, and I think the other people, members of parliament in the Committee of Science. Pre-Astra of the Academy of Science, Technology and Research of Asgardia. The Science Committee would like to discuss with the Minister of Science about the important law, which aims to establish the most important research structure in Asgardia. I think Luca was talked with the minister in Dubai. I need to know what they say in that terms. We propose the initiative to preparation of a concept law to establish basic powers and responsibilities of the academy, and legally empower the Minister of Science and the Science Commission to perform the technology-related this task. Science-related projects, Asgardia does do, well, this is a trouble. No, it's not a trouble. When we are talking about the protection of the environment, it's logical. This is in pause because we don't want to collaborate with the space debris. And now we are working in other things. And if you want to go to the links and go to understand all those, we are talking about this, and the head of the nation has a proposal, and we accepted that for land as a first step. A sociological survey of Asgardia. Angelo Adamo, with the collaboration of social science professor from University of Turin, are setting up a survey to collect sociological information of Asgardia. About this, I don't have any information of the progress, and we are waiting for that. Maybe we need a permission to create that kind of survey, or maybe not. But I don't have a communication in this moment with Angelo, and the only thing is wait for that last point. Thank you very much for your attendance, and thank you to all the members of parliament.
Thank you very much for doing that. Really appreciate it. We'll take, as always, we'll take questions in groups. So let's move to finance and Sarah Clark next. And then after that, it'll be citizenship. So finance. Yeah, we see it.
Perfect. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Since the Executive Congress in Dubai, The Finance Committee has remained dedicated to advancing Asgardia's economic foundation. I'm so sorry, and supporting strategic growth. Our key highlights and collaborative initiatives. Integrating Asgardia work and Asgardia trade. These are two amazing initiatives by Minister Bendel and by Chairwoman Riedel that I really think will catapult the efforts that many of the committees have been hoping for. So stay tuned and keep your ears open. I really hope Ria will have an opportunity to speak on that today. Monetizing opportunities. I didn't speak yesterday for obvious reasons, but I think the two initiatives that John Fine was able to present again will also help further the efforts, and I am wholly in support of those. Future plans for banking and currency strategies, as well as global competitiveness and a commitment to collaboration. We are undertaking a thorough review of the Asgardia work application to provide support in any way that we can, as well as the Asgardia.trade, which is the Trade and Commerce Committee, to back the initiatives led by Minister Bell, and Chairman John Fine. The launch of Asgardia's new application, sorry, I'll slow down, opens doors to a range of asset monetization possibilities. This includes not only current and proposed real estate assets, which we discussed yesterday, both terrestrial and orbital, but also potential digital real estate offerings on the NFT market. And I was very glad that Minister Bogan touched on the delineation of the lunar and the solar. We're closely following developments, again, with Ecodian Resources and Chairman Riedel, as well as the Culture Committee. Ugur has some really exciting things that I hope he will be able to touch on as well. Banking and currency strategies. Recognizing the need for a robust financial infrastructure, the Finance Committee is proposing a pilot case study on banking licenses that would offer significant advantages to Asgardia. Central to this initiative is the goal of making the solar fully exchangeable, accessible, and integrated with global markets and exchanges. And all that means is right now we can transfer the solar within our wallets, but really for the solar to become the powerhouse that we would like to see it be, it needs to be exchangeable on basically on other platforms around the world. And that seems to be quite important. Global competitiveness. To ensure the success of our banking and electronic currency aspirations, the committee is endeavoring to conduct, did I just read that? Sorry, a global competitive analysis. This knowledge would help Asgardia position itself favorably among digital-first jurisdictions, and a great example of that is Estonia, and maintain a cutting-edge initiative position in the global economic landscape. Like Singapore. A commitment to collaboration. The Finance Committee looks forward to working hand in hand with all the committees and ministers to build a strong, sustainable, and future-ready economic system. Our collective commitment is to foster financial innovation, ensure transparency, and deliver tangible value for all Asgardians. And on that note, do please, if you haven't already and you're watching this, please download the Asgardian app. It really is just such an incredibly cohesive tool. And thank you, Head of Nations, not only for the Executive Congress, but just for all of the thought and intention that was put into the application, because especially from just the financial side and just furthering the initiatives, I think it's a huge step forward. So future plans. The Finance Committee is working to establish essential foundations to emerge as a prominent, future-focused digital jurisdiction. We're committed to fostering an environment where initiative thrives, entrepreneurship is championed, and borderless collaboration is powered by advanced digital infrastructure. With an unwavering dedication to openness, strategic insight, and visionary leadership, we continue to work to propel Asgardia forward. And just one other note to my fellow Finance Committee members, it has come to my attention that our email meeting system may need to be tweaked, so we're going to jump back to Slack. So please do check that early next week. Thank you very much.
Thank you, as always. You may be feeling sick, but you're very clear-headed. So thank you very much indeed for that. And it's exciting. There'll be some more news coming up pretty soon about the continuing adventures of Sarah E.V. Clarke, our woman in Dallas. Let's move on to the next one. And citizenship is Teresa Jones. I see Teresa's with us. So over to you, Teresa. And then we'll do foreign affairs, and then I'll stop for questions. You have 40 minutes left to vote.
Okay, thank you.
Hi.
Hi. So my committee is basically just starting from, we'll say, a little bit of latency. So I've identified just 3 major sections for my committee. First and foremost is always going to be residency, recruitment, and retention. To facilitate that, we're going to be formulating a new strategy, including what efforts we have going right now, what is working and what is not working. So we will be having a meeting in next week, hopefully, to start those discussions. The second major thing is going to be a new piece of legislation in light of the push for territory from the Executive Congress. We will be relooking at the Citizenship Act to better reflect this initiative. We will be placing emphasis on defining how to obtain citizenship and setting up the necessary infrastructure to handle the influx of new applications. And that, I have a draft for it. I have a deadline of the end of December to send it to the LMRG. So I need John and Ferda to hold me to that. Otherwise, I will just re-edit this into oblivion. The third and final priority is going to be a reboot of the mayoral program. One thing I learned from the executive committee is Zoom calls are great, but meeting in person is the best thing we can possibly do. So in conjunction with the residency, recruitment and retention, getting the mayoral programs restarted and just working again will be one of our best strategies for recruitment. And that's it. Thank you.
Great. Very clear, as you were in Dubai as well. Thank you. And you're right. There's no substitute for physical contact. It is just a game changer. We'll take one more now, then we'll have any questions, and that's Ferda with the foreign affairs. Ferda. Yeah, great.
Evet, duyuyorum. Teşekkür
Yes.
ederim.
Sorry, I can hear you. We had the project presentations and we prepared an abstract for them. And in order to share them with our colleagues, we have sent them to the committee chairs following our presentation in Dubai, as you may remember, to the head of nation. And he wanted us to delegate those projects. So we started working on the delegation of those projects, especially with manufacturing committee head Mr. Benedetto. We had a meeting, and hopefully we will be having a meeting with them. They have some comments about the budget, and then we also have, of course, different projects. There are some projects, of course, which are targeted at certain committees already, and we will be organizing our meetings with them. Following our, of course, email communication, we are expecting some responses from some of our committee heads. So for the next year, we have around 10 projects, and we will be delegating them. We will be finding companies, some firms, together with whom we can work on these projects. So this is going to take our time. And of course, there might be some changes along the road, because when we work, of course, on these projects, we also wait for some, of course, some results or for some responses from the senior management or from the head of the nation, and we will take our actions according to their comments. So for the next year, a lot of things are on the way, but I did not prepare a written presentation for today. So our agenda will be very, very intensive from now on as the Foreign Affairs Committee. Thank you.
Thanks very much indeed. And Ferda's going to be very busy because of the need for us to get land. Really important. And I know I'll be doing a lot of work to help Ferda with that. It's just great, really great to have Ferda in that place. He's the right person in the right job at the right time. Any questions for those 4 committees or comments? That's Science, Finance, Citizenship, or Foreign Affairs. You have 35 minutes left to vote, by the way. Okay, let's move on to the next group. I intend to carry on. I think we'll probably be finished in about 1 hour or so. Next would be Information and Communications. We have a written report from Ross. Ross with us? Don't think he is today. We have a written report. Ross, at the last minute, got a promotion at work and wasn't able to attend the Asgardia Executive Congress in person. He did a very good job online, really professional, and it shows how good we have become at doing that. So Ross has a written report, which you can see. Let's move on to John, and then Peter, and then Sabahattin, and we'll have more questions. So, John, you're next.
I had to close some windows. I had a lot of windows open. I've been actually working while everybody's talking. Okay. And let me check your WhatsApp. I put a message in there for you.
Okay.
Let's see. Let me share my screen. Which one do I want here? Oh, there's so many windows. Here we go. Okay. You should see my presentation.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Well, I gotta move everything out of the way. Okay.
The topic said,
Hold on.
super idea.
Had my phone, gotta put my phone on silent. All right. This is a Trade and Commerce Committee progress report for this Parliament session. Of course, this is our members, as always. You know most of these people by heart, many of them, and they've been a great committee. As always, I like to start out with a quote. So today's quote: "It always seems impossible until it is done." This is by Nelson Mandela, who is a famous president of South Africa. Was a famous president of South Africa. Mission and purpose. The Trade and Commerce Committee works collaboratively with Parliament, the Minister of Trade and Commerce, and other governmental bodies to advance Asgardia's participation in the new space economy. The committee formulates legislation, strengthens policy initiatives, diplomatic and commercial networks, and supports the development of revenue-generating initiatives aligned with Asgardia's long-term goals. Our primary objectives. One, developing legislation that promotes economic growth and positions Asgardia within global and space-based markets. Two, establishing high-value partnerships that expand Asgardia's commercial, technological, and diplomatic presence. Our strategic operating principles through collaboration. And I won't go over the details of these, but I'll just show you what they are. They're communication-oriented, task-oriented, network-oriented, and community-oriented. Anybody wants the details of that, just say so, and I will present them here for you. Major achievements since last parliamentary session. The first one, of course, we have already talked about this. Lambert did a presentation on this already, and that's the Executive Congress, Dubai, committee participation and outcomes. The Trade and Commerce Committee engaged actively in the Executive Congress in Dubai through formal presentations, committee coordination sessions, and direct participation in chair-level administrative discussions. The committee's contributions were well received, and the head of nation noted strong confidence in the quality and professionalism demonstrated by all committee representatives. As a result of the Congress, several key initiatives advanced to new stages, including legislative approvals, expanded inter-committee coordination, and renewed engagement with internal or external partners. Number two, progress in the Asgardia Opportunity Act and Digital Content Act Authorization Act. And of course, you know this already because I gave presentations yesterday on those. But it is a major achievement. A major development arising from the Executive Congress was the head of nation's approval to consider advancing both the Asgardia Opportunities Protocol and the Digital Content Authorization Protocol toward full legislative enactment. Following this approval, both documents were restructured and resubmitted through proper channels. The Legislative Merit Review Group, LMRG, formally accepted both documents for advancement under standard second and third reading development procedures. The Chair of Parliament, COP, subsequently approved both of the first reading and placement and placed them on the upcoming parliamentary agenda. These actions mark a significant step toward expanding Asgardia's economic and resident engagement capabilities. Oh, and by the way, that COB, that's a new Asgardia word, COP. So when we say COP, we're talking about the Chair of Parliament. I just made up an Asgardia word.
Good, but I'm not a good cop or a bad cop.
Number three. Number three, completion and submission of the internal Asgardia Recognition Strategy 2025-2030 policy paper, a work in progress, a comprehensive 20-page policy paper, Asgardia Recognition Strategy 2025-2030, special zones, and the path to international recognition. This has been completed and submitted to the Chair of Parliament, chairs of committees, for a collaborative review and suggestions. Key elements include lawful pathways for international legitimacy, a phased diplomatic framework, alternatives to prohibited territorial acquisition approaches, integration of commercial, academic, and orbital strategies, recommendations for cooperative special zones and digital sovereignty mechanisms. Minister of Trade and Commerce has received internal copies for alignment, collaborative review, and executive consideration. Advancement of the Above Space Initiative. Substantial progress has continued on the Above Space Initiative, Asgardia's orbital platforms. Communications between Asgardia parliamentary leadership and Above Space have resumed following the Dubai Congress. Discussions are underway toward formalizing an official meet and greet in Huntsville, Alabama, involving engineers and stakeholders of Above Space and Asgardia. And I'll remind the chair that he said he was going to get back with me on that.
Yeah, you keep reminding me. I did make that commitment, and I have to.
Okay. Updated proposals and three-tier investment options remain under active review. The initiative continues to represent, one of Asgardia's strongest opportunities for establishing an orbital commercial presence. The committee will continue coordinating with relevant ministries and leadership to ensure constructive forward movement. Legislative and achievements to date, enacted laws. Of course, we have this is just for this Parliament session, the second Parliament. We have the E-Commerce Act, Decree number 74. We have the Digital Properties Act, Consumer Protection Act, and Competition Fair Trade Act. And you can see the dates when those were accomplished. Pending acts approved for first reading is, of course, the Asgardia Opportunity Act and the Digital Content Authorization Act. Committee Awards Program. The committee maintains an internal rewards program to formally recognize outstanding contributions by individuals who significantly advance Asgardia's economic, technological, and diplomatic visibility. Ongoing support. To continue advancing Asgardia's economic and diplomatic growth, the committee highlights the need for enhanced legal advisory support, coordinated public relations and communication strategies, strengthened inter-community cooperation, continued executive and parliamentary engagement with commercial partners. Our 3-year timeline of achievements. Year 1, enactment of the E-Commerce Act. Continued strategic dialogue with Above Space alongside impactful collaborations and presentations involving Parliament and principal stakeholders. Creation and approval of committee rules and protocols. Year 2, enactment of the Digital Properties Act. Continued strategic dialogue with Above Space with collaboration, presentations, meetings involving Parliament and principal stakeholders. Introduction of Legislative Merit Review Group, a key collaborative legislative workspace. Year 3, enactment of Consumer Protection Act, enactment of the Competition Fair Trade Act, HON approval to advance the Opportunity Act and Digital Content Authorization Act for first reading consideration. Continued successful collaborations with LMRG review process. Chair of Parliament approval for first reading placement on upcoming Parliament agenda. Completion and distribution of the Recognition Strategy 2025-2030 policy paper. Executive Congress participation and resulting progress on Above Space coordination. And that's it. Thank you. One humanity, one unity. And I'll stop the share as soon as I can find my little wavy hand.
Thank you, John. Very good, as always. Very, very good. And we'll get to questions after we've spoken with Peter and Sabahattin. So, Peter, Justice, over to you. You've already done a lot today, so you may feel your work here is done already today.
Well, there's not much to say, Lambert and colleagues, that we haven't already said. the Justice Committee is devoting itself for this next year to assisting Head of Nation to find and acquire a land base for Asgardia. We share the trepidations of Parliament on whether or not we can do that in Antarctica, although in fact, Dan, we know that's what HON wants to do. I'm currently waiting for Lembit to retrieve the legal advice that Head of Nation has had as to why he thinks we can do that. I'll look at that with the committee. I'll be convening a full committee once we've got that, to have a look and see whether or not we can assist him or stand in his way and suggest something else. We go into it totally open-minded, but with the principal premise that we want to do it, because that's what Head of Nation wants. So we are determined we will acquire some land, and Asgardia will take a big leap forward as a result. Justice Committee stands by, as always, to deal with legal problems for any of the other committees, for the Head of Nation if he wants it, and also for our Chairman of Parliament. We realised that a lot of the weight of our work was taken off us by John when he started the new procedure for looking at prospective acts of Parliament, but he also knows that we are here to help with any legal points. Basically, we are gatekeepers. We protect Asgardia from stepping out of line legally, and if anybody needs help, they only have to ask. But we're mainly looking at helping the Head of Nation now with acquiring land.
Thank you, Peter. Very nice and succinct. And I agree, that's the main project for all of us. Once we have that land, Asgardia will work, and it will get people, and everything will happen. So important. We move on to youth and education, Sabahattin, and then any questions to this group. You have 18 minutes left to vote. Sabahattin. Yeah.
Evet, iyi akşamlar.
Thank you very much. Good evening. Returning from Dubai, I was also very busy. I had participation in 2 different sports science congresses. I attended those congresses, and of course, we were working on our law, and we worked on how to make things better. I have sent files to John Fine, and I believe from now on we will be working together on this act, and of course I will bring it to the final stage, hopefully around in 1 year, and will present it to you. By the way, yesterday we talked about Asgardia Space Education Program. If you remember, around 70% of that work has already been finished, and for the Asgardia Space Education Program, hopefully we will complete our work and present it to you very soon. So in Asgardia organization, my objective is to also create an education website or an education page and start at least some online trainings or educational activities, especially for children, for the youth, for those especially at the universities, and even for maybe master's students, so that they can benefit from this educational content. In this way, if we create a module, it will be very successful. It will be very helpful for the youth. And for instance, if we create some kind of a master's program, which can be charged or like extra charge or can be free of charge, but we are working on this. We are trying to create some draft models for such educational programs or modules. But at the end of the day, we want to bring them together under the umbrella of Asgardia Space Education. So this is going to be one of our main future plans. Moreover, we are planning to have a youth summit like maybe Young Asgardians Summit or something like that, which will be open to all the youth all around the globe. We are still working on this idea. We want to mature this idea, and hopefully, especially I believe in February, we will be taking more solid steps. If I'm not mistaken, European Space Agency, I think it has some kind of a youth congress or like a youth meeting in February as well. So I'm also following up on this one. And as you may remember from my side, I have been working on Asgardia Space Games, and hopefully we will continue to work on these ideas. And as you know, I'm a quite new committee head, so and I have been involved in a very busy working schedule as a new committee head. My biggest problem is managing the time because I have also a lot of external work. So I'm trying to create space and time for all these works. So thank you very much for your attention and patience.
Thank you, Sabahattin. Any questions or comments to those four? Anybody want to say anything? I think those are good. You can see the level of focus that the Executive Congress has created. There's no doubt that the committee is really sharp now, in a good way, really focused. You've also got 15 minutes to vote, 14 minutes. So please do. And okay, good. Let's move on to the last group. What that was. Okay, an interesting sound. Right, so we've go to the last group of presentations, and that group is just going back to the app. It's a great app. Ricky, Ria, Benedetto, Uga. So, Ricky, over to you. I think you're here. That's what you before.
Greetings, everybody.
Hi.
How y'all doing?
Very well, thanks. Glad to hear your voice.
Let me see if I can get this up here. Share screen. Let's see. Nope, doesn't look like I can. So, I'll read it off here. This here's the Asgardia Safety and Security Committee, 19 November 2025, 15 Sagittarius, 30009. Okay, implementation report on the Cyber Act. As you know, and this is off the not on the report here, Asgardia has passed cyber legislation, and currently that's in the hands of Safety and Security's Minister, Michael Torino. I recently reached out to the Prime Minister and the individual ministers to find out which ones have or are working on implementation of the Cyber Act. Unfortunately, the only feedback I got was from Minister Jacob Mulder, and I thank him for that. And later on, I did get some feedback from Ben Dell, who said that he's doing what he can on his end with what resources he has, but that the ministers, our safety and security minister, is primarily the one taking care of everything at this point. Honestly, I can't stress the importance of full implementation of the Cyber Act. Without that, there's really not a lot that we can do in order to ensure our legitimacy as a partner going forward in order to protect information, to be able to do contracts properly, and just things of that nature. So that's basically all I have at this point. Right now, the committee and the minister is primarily focused on implementation and getting it to where it needs to be. And that's going to take some time. That's also going to take some funding over time. So, that's pretty much all I have.
Thank you very much indeed, Ricky. Very much appreciated. And you made a very good contribution in Dubai as well. Let's move on. And that is back to the app. It's Ria next. Then Benedetto, and finally you go. So Ria.
Hi, good day, everybody.
Hi.
The Equity and Resources Committee has focused this period on strengthening Asgardia's foundation in three key areas: resident participation, resource development, and international presence. While much of the work has involved planning and structuring, important steps has been taken to support long-term growth. In the area of resident participation, the committee completed an internal review to better understand how residents currently engage with Asgardia and where improvements are needed. A structured resident recognition and reward system has been designed and encourage involvement and highlight meaningful contributions. The system outlines participation criteria, activity levels, and forms of acknowledgement, creating a more motivating environment for active residents. For resource development, the committee explored cost-neutral methods to expand Asgardia's operational capabilities. Several free digital tools were evaluated to use in coordination, administration, and project management, ensuring that committee work can continue without financial strain. The framework for the Global Office Directory has been completed, enabling volunteers around the world to offer contact points for Asgardia. Early interest from residents in various countries has already been noted. To enhance global presence, the committee developed the finalized the structure of the civic liaison network, which will appoint residents to represent Asgardia within their countries. Responsibilities and communication procedures have been defined, and potential candidates have been identified through preliminary outreach. The period ahead, the committee will focus on launching the recognition system, activating the Global Office Directory, and appointing the first civic liaison. These steps will help strengthen resident engagement, expand international representation, and build a practical resource base Asgardia needs to grow. And that is all from me. Thank you.
Thank you. Always very straight and to the point. Very much appreciated. Yeah. Next, we move to manufacturing and Benedetto, and finally you go. So Benedetto, you're next.
Hello, everyone.
Hi.
Now, see my presentation in 1 second.
Well, as he comes up, we've got 5 minutes to vote. If you haven't voted, please do. I have. So please vote. You've got 5 minutes before the voting closes. Benedetto, over to you.
So, the name of this presentation, Vision for the Future of Asgardia in Space, with the idea that we have to focus on putting a new satellite in orbit for Asgardia. And so trying to make a tangible project. And for that, we work with the science committee to see here what real science project we can make in the future. So to do this choice, we are aligned with the core mission of Asgardia, which you know, which is unite humanity in a progressive and transnational society, build a new home for humanity in space, protect planet Earth, and promote peace and safety in space. And so the next project that I will present are examples and maybe are connected to the main pillar of the nation. So the challenge is what we need to know is execution. So we need a strong vision, an active parliament, creative committees. This we have already, and we see it with the reports which are done today. But we have limited means, framework, and continuity in a project. So the proposal is to start small, act fast, and iterate smart. So as ideas that I submit to the science committee, and Luca know already this presentation, we have first the idea of a magnetic hub that can protect humanity in space. So the goal is to create an artificial magnetic shield protecting spacecraft and habitat from radiation. And so the phase approach of that project can be making our first CubeSats, 1 unit. So 1 unit CubeSat is 10 centimeter by 10 centimeter cube as a proof of concept. Then going with something bigger, with more monitoring and control and science fact that we can get from that. And that at the end, having a project to do an orbital hub, which is scalable, a scalable radiation shield platform. The second one is more against manufacturing in space. So the idea here is to start to make a satellite that can extrude carbon nanotube in space. If we need an elevator in space, as some projects are already existing, we need those carbon nanotube extrusion. So the idea is to maybe having a project that can make that and being the first to do this on Earth. So the third one is more in a cultural artwork where we will find an art and identity in orbit. The goal is to launch a satellite that unfolds into a visible artwork designed by renowned architects and designers. Propose cultural diplomacy, uniting Earth through a visible Asgardian symbol. Outcome, the first Asgardian cultural presence in orbit. So to make this real, we need a global synergy. Here you have the contribution of each project with the pillar of the nation, the magnetic hub for safe Earth and peace in space, the extrusion satellite, the carbon nanotube is for the first human born in space, and the magnetic hub. Digital nation, an orbital artwork, and why not having some servers inside for the data of the nation, and protecting Earth with the reuse of technologies for Earth-based protection. So a call to action is to start with small proof of concepts, validate it fast, open to partnership with the ESA, CNES, universities, and so on. Seek for hybrid funding, maybe a symbolic Asgardian seed and then external grants. Transparent progress reporting through the app key under the Ministry of Manufacturing, and maybe initiate an Asgardia PhD orbital fellowship in collaboration with the Science Committee. So the next step is define the structure and support mechanism with the relevant authorities, prepare a detailed POC roadmap for each project, initiate partnership with key scientific and artistic institutions, and the open question remained, who will lead this coordination and how will it connect to Asgardia's administration? So let's make Asgardia visible in orbit and on Earth. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Benedetto, once again. Great to see you in Dubai and looking forward to seeing you again soon. Let's go to Ugo next for the final presentation. The voting's now closed. So after this, then we'll be close to finishing. Ugo, over to you.
Teşekkür ederim, Sayın Başkanım.
Thanks very much, distinguished chairperson. I have a short presentation which consists of 20 pages. A very short one. First of all,
that's a private joke about something that happened in Dubai.
Sağ olun Sayın Başkan.
Thanks very much. Thanks very much for your tolerance.
Yanımızda var oluyorsunuz. Çok sağ olun.
You're always with us. Firstly, I would like to hail the citizens of Asgardia and the Asgardian Parliament. Now, I would like to introduce a word for you. Now, I want the interpreters just to listen this. Esikiye orata, esi ime. Our interpreters can continue the interpretation. Esikiye orata, esi ime is the word. But what does it mean at all, distinguished Parliament? One humanity, one unity is the meaning of this phrase. This is the language of Asgardia, and this was the phrase in Asgardian language. I would like to thank the representatives of the Asgardia linguistic group. They are not with us now, Korna, but Teresta and Sarah. They are with us, and I was a member of this group, and we really worked hard together to create this Asgardian phrase. Benedetto already knows this. He already wrote this under the project. He can also write the phrase on the chat box, or I can send it later on. Now, I would like to say a few words about the Dubai meeting and then begin my committee report, which contains some very important values. Now, our founder, Mr. Dr. Ashur Bailey, delivered a clear and understandable message to the world with the visionary statements and concrete actions he made in Dubai, United Arab Emirates. Striving for a space birth, acquiring a piece of land, and perhaps even obtaining the first examples of real passports within a year are concrete initiatives that only a true visionary can achieve. I have no doubt that there are hidden eyes watching us with amazement and curiosity among the representatives of all the world's governments, administrations, and among the representatives of our states. I'm sure they are closely following every step we take, every word we say, and every promise we make. And concretely, this is an indication of how true what I just said is, that the communities that make up the Asgardia Space Nation and we, the representatives of the government, are actually part of the terrestrial world. Now, please allow me to continue with my presentation of the Culture Committee report on behalf of all the members of the Culture Committee. Well, thanks very much for your patience, because this is an opportunity only 4 times a year, and if you also include the physical meeting, it's the 5th time. And thanks very much for your patience, for listening. Now, it is an invaluable pleasure for me and my team that our declaration-based copyright project has been functionally tested within the Culture Committee and has generated revenue for the Asgardia Children's Fund. We would like to thank John Fine, Chairman of the Trade Committee, for his active role in developing the copyright law file that forms the basis of our file, and our founder, Dr. Ashur Beyli, who secured this important file as Decree number 83. Following a wonderful Dubai meeting, we are resuming our work, and here are our main agenda items. The Culture Committee will meet 4 times a year in accordance with government regulations. However, we will hold these meetings via email, not Zoom. Our meetings will be held 4 times a year, and each meeting will last 1 week. This method will eliminate differences in terms of language. The short duration of each Zoom meeting, as short as 2 hours, presents a problem for us, and the method we will use will cover a 1-week period. So, accordingly, each member can express their opinions 24/7 by entering them in the meeting email. They can share as many files and screenshots as they want without any confusion, and we will be testing this new method this month in December. Now, another topic, declaration-based copyright file. This declaration-based copyright application, commended by our nation's founder and nation's leader, Dr. Ashur Beyli, will undergo a series of adjustments to ensure the system operability. Therefore, I am forming a team with members who responded to our call at the last digital meeting. Inside this team, there will be John Fine, who has been working on the copyright file, and he will be at the forefront of this team. The works and files of the artists and writers who have contributed written and visual works to our simple copyright file to date will be reviewed to ensure technical and legal compatibility with the file, and the income statements of the transactions will be reviewed. Our goal is to have this file at least updated before the 2026 possible, even made compatible with the DSL web system we are continuing to work with Manufacturing Committee Chair Benedetto, so that our citizens can benefit from this wonderful innovation. With our latest update, the declaration-based rights file will continue to increase the number of Asgardia citizens and provide an income stream for the Asgardia Children's Fund. It will also become a center of attraction and even a magnet for writers, artists, and intellectuals who work for the citizens of the world. Another agenda topic, Culture Commission's logo review. During our meeting, Mr. Öpik was together with us, and we found the opportunity to have a talk with Dr. Aşır Bey regarding the Culture Commission's logo. Another important issue is the change of our logo, which is the always visible digital representation of the Culture Committee. Following the agreement I reached with our founder, Dr. Aşır Bey, at the Dubai meeting, we will develop a logo that meets our founder's wishes and demands and best represents our committee. And I hope to share our sample work with you soon. Now, I would like to talk about my recent study file that will make a mark in 2026, and then we will be concluding this report. We have undertaken a project that will increase the number of citizens and provide added value to our nation. As with the declaration-based copyright file, we aim to enter the new year 2026 with a file that has been fully tested and prepared in consultation with our citizens. For now, we will just have to wait a little longer for the work file that I have given good news about. Because, together with some members of parliament, we will have to work on this to turn it into a law. Now, this is the last page. Thanks very much for listening, but I'm going to delve into a somewhat social cultural topic. Raiden. Raiden appeared at the Dubai meeting as a member of Asgardia and took his seat at the table at the government meeting with his latest updated image. And Raiden is confidently progressing towards becoming an integral part of the Asgardian nation. In the presence of our nation's President Dr. Aşır Bey, Prime Minister Lena Devine, Parliament Speaker Lembit Öpik, and our senior management team, ministers and committee chairs, Raiden received a very important certificate. Organized by Cheryl Gallagher, our Cultural Committee chair, Raiden was sent from the Copernic spaceport to the lunar surface, accompanied by the values that represent Asgardian space nation. It was a source of pride for me to witness and be a part of this historic event. I extend my sincere gratitude to Minister Cheryl Gallagher. I'm sure that our members who had the opportunity to possess a Raiden figurine at this meeting are displaying it in a prominent place in their homes, and you will soon understand why we were all emotional. If you have a Raiden figurine at home, please send me your pictures. I will prepare those pictures and include them in the Raiden Almanac. Please send me photographs through email and WhatsApp. And I also want to share some good news with you. I will be making a special Raiden for Asgardia's 10th anniversary for the 2026 physical meeting and will auction it off the meeting. The lucky person who pays the most in euros and soles will own that precious figurine, and the proceeds will also be donated to the Children's Fund of Asgardia. Now, these will be the last lines. Now, let me explain why I have experienced some emotional moments. Cheryl prepared a presentation in which Raiden was commending the rocket that was heading towards the space. And I said, Raiden, you did it. And we looked eye to eye with Dr. Aşır Bey, and he nodded.
O kadar öfkelenmiştim ki
I was so angry against
Asgardia'nın
the
Viyana'da ofisi olmasına ve bana davetli
authorities
mektubu
of the
göndermelerine rağmen
Austrian
elimde
government for
valiz ve takım elbiselerim
rejecting
ile
my
ailemin
entrance,
yüzüne mahcup bir bakışla
despite
kala
the fact that
kalmıştım.
I had
Sonra
a
ne mi oldu?
meeting in
Bana
Vienna.
o vize
I
vermeyi,
was
bana vize
sent back
vermeyi reddeden
and I had to
bürokratlere
go back
inat
to my family
benden
with the
önce vize
luggage
almaya
in my
gerek
hands.
duymadan İstanbul toplantısında Bay
Then
Lembit ile buluşmaya gitti.
first
Ardından
Raiden
Estonya
went to
toplantısına gitti
the
ve
Istanbul
sergisi
meeting,
yapıldı.
and then Raiden went
Oradan
to
dünyanın
Estonia
her yanına dağıldı.
and seen an exhibit,
Bakü,
and then Raiden was
Meksika,
distributed to all
Dubai,
parts of the world.
Amerika,
Baku,
Fransa,
Mexico,
Kuala Lumpur,
Dubai,
Rusya.
France, Kuala Lumpur,
O küçücük görünen
Russia.
Raiden figürü
So this
nasıl da bizi yansıtıyor değil mi
smallest
arkadaşlar?
Raiden figure
Asgardia
is very much
felsefelerinden
our
birisi nedir?
reflection.
Uzaydan
As
bakıldığında sınırlar
Asgardians,
olmaz.
we have one single philosophy
Sınırsızın
which
gücü
says that
insanlar
there are no
diyoruz. Ne kadar
borders
saçma bir uygulama
on the
değil mi?
earth looking
Ama
from
bizim
the space.
felsefemiz ne diyor?
The
Uzaydan
humanity
baktığımızda
imposes
sınırlar olmaz.
borders.
O bürokratların gücü maalesef bir zamanlar beni durdurmaya yetti. Ama
Unfortunately,
Raiden'i
the
asla
authorities
durduramadılar.
of Austria was
Ve
powerful
Raiden
enough to
meydan
stop
okumaya
me
devam
at the
edecek.
border, but
Şimdi
Raiden cannot be
bugünlerde
stopped.
Raiden ve ben
Raiden will
duygusal
continue to
zamanlar
challenge,
yaşıyoruz.
and nowadays, together
Hatırlar
with
mısınız?
Raiden, we are having some emotional
2007'de
moments. As you may remember,
İzmir'de
the
2020
city where I
senesinde
live
meydana
in
gelen
Izmir,
depremden
there was an earthquake in
80 saat
2008.
sonra
80
arama
hours
kurtarma
after
ekibi
this
yıkılan
earthquake,
enkaza bir Raiden figürü koymuştu.
the
Enkaz altında
rescue
hala
teams
canlı çocuklar
placed a
olabileceğini
Raiden
düşünüyordum ve
figurine
kızımın
on one of the
sarı ya da
rubbles,
turuncu renkli
and
Raiden'ini
I
o
was
enkaza
still
götürmüştüm.
thinking
Ve
that there might be some
arama kurtarma
children
ekibine
alive under the
demiştim ki
rubble,
başka ne isim
and I
veririz?
took
Raiden'i
Raiden
alıp
figurine with
o
me. And
enkazdan
one of the
91
survivors
saat sonra bir kız çocuğunu canlı olarak
was
çıkartmıştım.
rescued after
Ve
91
arama
hours from
kurtarma
that
ekibi
building,
ertesi gün sosyal medyadan
rubble
bana
of which
çağrı
I
yapıyordu.
placed
Uğur
a
Aydın Bey,
Raiden figurine on.
dilekleriniz gerçek oldu
And
ve o enkazdan mucize
I
eseri
received
bir kız çocuğu
an
çıkartıldı.
announcement from
Ve
the rescue
depremden 5
teams,
yıl sonra
which told me that
belediye ve
a
ekibi sayesinde
young girl
başardılar
was
bu arada.
rescued
O kız
alive
çocuğuna
under the
ulaştık.
rubble.
Artık büyüdü,
And
10 yaşında
finally,
o kız çocuğu.
after years
Yakın bir
after, I
zamanda
managed to reach
Raiden,
that
ben,
girl, who is now
belediye
10
üyeleri
years
ve o
old,
dönemin arama
and
kurtarma
Raiden,
ekibiyle o
and
kız
I will soon
çocuğunu
visit
hep
her
birlikte
with
ziyaret
the
ederek
municipality members
onlara birer
and
tane
search
Raiden
and
hediye
rescue team, and I
yine
will
sosyal
soon be
medyadan
presenting
paylaşacağım.
them a Raiden figurine, and I'm going to share it from
Bizler her
via the
zaman genç
social
kalacağız.
media. And
Fakat
finally,
Raiden
we will
her
age, of
zaman
course, but
genç kalacak.
Raiden will
Beni
remain
dinlediğiniz
forever
için
young.
çok
This was
teşekkür
my
ederim.
last sentence. Thanks very much for
Sorularınız,
listening.
yorumlarınız
If you have
olursa
any contributions or
cevaplamaktan
any questions,
memnun
I'll
olurum.
be
Sayın
pleased to
Başkan,
answer them. Distinguished
bana her
Chairperson,
defasında uzun uzadıya söz hakkı veriyorsun. Bunun
thanks
için
very much
ayrıca
for
teşekkür
giving
etmek
me the
isterim.
floor to
Sağ olun.
speak for so long. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Very much appreciate it, and your optimism is tremendous. And Raiden's on the moon. It's a very good thing. Ugo is one of the great inspirations that we have in our Asgardian civic society. Any questions to those four? To remind you, that is I was going to say Raiden, Ugo, Benedetto, Ria, or Ricky. I was so encouraged to see everybody in the event we had in Dubai. It really was great. It really just makes you feel that we're part of a real team. And you can see the level of attention and positivity. And Ugo is one of the great inspirations of our society. Okay, thank you, everybody. We've now fulfilled the task of reports. And as I say, I will suggest that we get a report from the Justice team from the next event. I'll check that with Head of Nation. So let's go back to the agenda. We've got to the stage where I ask you if there are any priority acts you want to raise. You don't have to tell me now, but I always say this because we're an open society, and almost all of the legislation comes from you. There was a time when I was creating some, but I don't need to. It comes from you. Remember, we've deferred the vote on using education framework structure for the next time. So that's not a problem. We'll get it done next time. And depending how you vote on these, then we've got a pretty full agenda for the next time we're here. Okay, then let me get to the second last thing, which is the results of the vote. The voting is closed. Big thank you to Linda for sending me the provisional results of the voting. Let me find it. Here are the results. So registered 87. Oh, John, go ahead.
Is it all right if I briefly go over our conversation that we had on the WhatsApp?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course.
It won't be this Parliament session. I just want to let Parliament know. It won't be this session, but Lambert and I were contemplating some ideals and decided that doing a LMRG review progress report like we're due here with the committees would be also appropriate. So we will next Parliament session that will be included with the session. And I will let you know that I purchased a legislative review program. And it's very similar to programs that U.S. Congress uses and various other countries and whatnot. And Ricky, if you look in your email, you will see that you have the results of that program. I have been painstakingly putting data sets into this program for hours upon hours upon hours. And when I talk about data sets, I'm talking about everything that Asgardia has, every law, every code, every protocol, whatever. And I have been going through the Asgardia website and pulling all those data sets out and putting them manually, putting them into this program. So I only have a few administrative things left to put in that was actually sent this sessions. So I haven't put those in yet. And so what's this mean? Well, now in a matter of seconds or minutes, I can produce some really quality reports. And Ricky has the results of those reports. He's the first one to receive them. He sent me an email, with a picture he took of his notebook where he had some suggestions. I plugged that picture into this program, and from that picture, it produced these reports. Of course, I had to go in and make any corrections it needed, but based off all the data sets that I had applied to the program. So Ricky can comment if he wants on what that looks like, but he is the first test model. So, and this is just off a picture that he took of his notebook, which the program had no problem reading. And so I thought that was, I'm sorry, I thought that was amazing. But, and the kind of reports that this thing sends out is the same kind of stuff that the Congress gets. And it can do annual year-end reviews of Asgardia's legal system. It can do what he just said, first readings. It can actually suggest what Parliament needs to have for first readings. That's one of the things it can do. So there's just so many things that it can do. And I think this will be a huge help for us in Parliament. It's being ran, I run the program under the LMRG. It has amazingly assisted me. It created a new hybrid tracking page that tracks way better than I was tracking. So, and Ricky has the result of that as well. and this is the program that I'll be using from now on. And it's real neat because you can just send me a note, just a note. Hey, John, I got this idea of this. I plug that into the system on a specific act that's in the LMRG, or even an act you want to create. And I can plug that into the program, and it'll spit out all the specifics in a very formal manner that I can send you. So, if you just want to, if you have a crazy idea that you want to turn into an act or whatever, it can actually do that as well. It won't actually turn it into the act, but it'll give you what you need to do that with. But yeah, it's got a lot of things it can do. So anyway, I just wanted to give everybody an update on that, and look forward to giving a progress report in the next Parliament section. Thank you, Lambert.
Thank you, John. Ariadne.
Muy amables, gracias. Bien, sabemos
you
que
very
hay
much.
una nación en el mundo que ya
We know that there's a nation in the world that
de
already
inteligencia
has an
artificial.
MAE that
¿No
is
sería
an AI.
que nosotros también
It
hiciéramos lo
wouldn't be
propio?
weird
Ahora que escucho a John Fine,
that we do that
sí, o sea,
too. Now that
sugerí el
I
otro día
listened to
darle
what
un
John
nombre
said,
a la
I was
aplicación de
suggesting
inteligencia
him
artificial que él utiliza.
to give a name to the AI
Reconoce como femenina.
that he recognizes as
Siendo
a female,
un parlamento digital, contar
and
con un
as being a digital parliament,
digital con un nombre asgardiano,
it would only make
algo
sense
positivo.
to come with a digital assistant and that we give it a name. That's my suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you. Very interesting. I'm working on a film at the moment, which is about AI. I won't tell you the story, but it's a very interesting theme. And AI can be our friend as long as we don't become over-dependent on it. As long as we don't become lazy humans. That's what really matters. Right. Okay. Thank you for all those points. So that brings us to the final part, which is the voting results. As we come to the end of our day together and the end of our third day, we've covered all the agenda items we needed to today. So here are the results, and we have completed all of the other tasks. Here are the results of the voting. Registered 87, so we are quorate, thank you. Agenda in favour 86, against 0, abstention 0, so thank you, you've approved the agenda, that's really the quorum count. Reappointment of Carrie Shang in favour 80, against 2, abstentions 4, so Carrie Shang is reappointed as Justice. Reappointment of Anna Pino in favour 79, against 2, abstentions 5, so Anna is also reappointed. Tom Cabau in favour 80, against 1, and abstentions 5. So Tom is also reappointed. And finally, the reappointment of Firu Tiba in favour 79, against 1, and abstentions 6. So I'm glad to say Firu is also appointed. Thank you. And next time, we'll do that with an invitation that they attend the event. And I'll see if we can have an event them present at future events as well. That's a good thing that's come out. And ask Linda and Aliona to write that down, that I'd like to invite them to meet us at times. The next thing is the Opportunities Act, and that was the first reading. In favour 80, against 1, abstentions 4. So that passes the first reading. Congratulations. Digital Content Authorization Act, the Asgardia Digital Content Authorization Act, first reading. In favour 82, against 0, and abstentions 3. So that passes its first reading as well. So congratulations on both of those to Alexander Melnikov and John, who's been helping. Digital content. Sorry, moving on. The Asgardia Space Debris Mitigation and Management Act, second reading by Ferda Inan. In favour 82, against 0, abstentions 3. So that's passed the second reading. Congratulations. Asgardia Space Debris Mitigation and Management Act. Asgardia Space Traffic Management Act, second reading. In favour 80, against none, and abstentions 5. So that's gone through as well. So well done. Thank you. You voted for those things. Somebody asked me, why are there such big majorities in favour? It's because when we find an issue, we defer something, and then we get it right. These aren't meant to be competitions. These are meant to be the collective intelligence of us all doing the right thing. So well done to everybody. And as you know, with the Youth and Education Framework Act, we'll come back to that, and we'll talk about that at the next ALF as well. So thank you. That brings us to the end of our day. We've had the first day, which is procedural. Second day, a lot of legislation, big discussion about Decree 89 regarding Antarctica, and we'll have an ALF, a Asgardia Legislative Forum on that as well. Maybe I'll see Head of Nation before then as well to report back to him in person. We've had the debate about all that legislation. We had the government tower. We've had a report back about the Executive Congress in Dubai. We've talked about the improved communications protocol. That's really important. That's a huge improvement. We've had some great reports from the chairs of the committees. Thank you. And we've had the vote summary. So with that, I want to thank you for attending. It's been very well attended this time. 64 people have attended in total, I think 65, sorry, which is great. Might have been a little bit more than that, but certainly 65. We have discussed things honestly and in the full publicity of a global audience, which shows that we've got nothing to hide, and we're all working in the same direction. I want to thank the team. I'll do a great job. That's Linda, Leona, and the others. The interpreters are just brilliant. They save us so much time. And thank you, as always. It's a pleasure to work with you. And now that we all know each other, you've got all the technical words all sorted out. No one talks space in so many languages as well as you do. So thank you for that. And you save us 75% of our time. So today we've been working for quite a few hours, but actually whatever we've done here, multiply it by 4. And that's how efficient it is compared to the past. And more than anything, I want to thank our Head of Nation, Dr. Igor Asher-Bailey, who, as you can see, has absolutely said, well, this is where we're heading. And Antarctica may be controversial. It's a step forward. And it's our job. He's given us the responsibility and the opportunity, given us the job of creating the legislation that gets us land and recognition on planet Earth. We didn't want to do it to begin with, but we have no choice. We have to do that. So that's everything. And this is the 11th sitting of the second parliamentary term. We've done so much remarkable. I want to thank you all for being here. And after the national anthem, as always, I will declare the sitting closed. So thank you very much, everybody. Oho. Or I think we're trying to do that now. I think we're moving it to something else. There's other big news to come, which we can report for next time. Yeah, I quite like that. Work in progress. It'll evolve organically. Thank you. And there'll be more big news next Thursday. Have a great rest of the day. And on behalf of all of us, to all of you out there in the world, join us. Become a resident of Asgardia. €100 in your currency gives you the full rights. We're heading for space in peace for all humankind. Be part of that journey. So let's play the national anthem, and after that, the sitting is closed. And we can stop the broadcast. Thank you.